Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually want to follow up on the chairman's questions about external actors, in particular UAE. We've seen over the past 2.5 years many credible reports by the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the State Department-funded Sudan Conflict Observatory, France 24, Reuters, Amnesty International, and the UN panel of experts, and our own intelligence, that the UAE is sending weapons to the RSF and continues to do so. I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record one of the most recent reports, a Wall Street Journal article, How UAE Arms Bolstered a Sudanese Militia Accused of Genocide. Thank you. So, Spera, I guess I wanted to follow up because you said just now in response to the chairman that the Quad and its members are all committed to bringing the war to an end. But do you agree that the UAE continues to provide material support to the RSF?
Thank you, Ranking Member Jacobs. I would again refer back to the Secretary's comments on the critical role of ending external support and our continued efforts to work with all actors on that front.
Okay, and what is the department doing to utilize its significant leverage in the form of arms sales, including a $1.4 billion sale of helicopter and F-16 fighter jet parts that President Trump circumvented Congress on to push the UAE to stop its support and hopefully prevent another mass atrocity?
Yeah, thank you. As far as broader arms sales issues and those relationships, I'd have to refer to my colleagues either in our Political Military Bureau or our Near Eastern Affairs Bureau. It's not something that I'm directly involved in.
Okay. I will follow up. Which brings me to the broader point, which is it's unclear to me who's actually driving the policy on Sudan. And, I'm glad that the president has newfound interest, but I am worried that having no assistant secretary, no senior director for Africa at the NSC, no special envoy despite a legal requirement, no USAID, no conflict and stabilizations bureau, I'm concerned that this administration lacks the adequate staff and attention to actually address this conflict. So could you clarify today who within the administration is the lead on Sudan policy?
Thank you, Ranking Member. From my perspective in the Africa Bureau, we have extensive amount of attention to the Sudan crisis from the Secretary on down. We have obviously direct...
So who within the State Department is the lead on Sudan policy?
Well, our Africa Bureau's Senior Advisor Boulos, and we're getting all of our direction from Secretary Rubio.
Okay. I would argue that the crisis in Sudan is the largest on earth. I'm not sure that a senior bureau official with no confirmed assistant secretary is the right level. And while I appreciate what Special Advisor Boulos is doing, he is also in charge of the DRC crisis as well as Arab affairs. He is not Senate confirmed. I'm not sure he has the time or credibility to take this on. I would appreciate him appearing in front of our committee so that we could actually ask him these questions if he is in fact in charge. You said you feel like you have adequate staffing. How many people in the State Department currently work full-time on Sudan?
I would have to get back to you with an exact number, but our reorganization, actually, let me refer back, Ambassador Pratt, our senior bureau official, was before this committee just a few weeks ago, and I think as he noted, after the reorg of this past summer, the Africa Bureau is actually larger than it was at the beginning of the administration, and that includes a reorganization of our East Africa team. So the team that I oversee that works on Sudan is actually larger now than it was at the onset of the administration. It's part of our broader Office of East African Affairs. The exact numbers, I don't have that with you today. I would also say, back to your comments earlier about Senior Advisor Boulos and Secretary Rubio, the relationships that they have forged and we have forged across the interagency really do reflect a whole of government effort, and the clear direction from the White House and the 7th floor of the State Department are really rallying a lot of that support to ensure that we're dedicating all of our attention to the Sudan crisis.
Great, then I will look forward to having Senior Advisor Boulos in front of this committee so we can ask him our questions. Lastly, what is the State Department's plan to respond to the President's interest in finding peace in Sudan?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's your concrete plan to respond to the President's interest in finding peace in Sudan?
Yeah, so there's a twofold answer to that. So the overall process, the overall plan is as outlined in the Quad statement, which I referenced before. The immediate effort is to press the parties to agree to this humanitarian truce for 90 days. That would allow the delivery of humanitarian assistance and provide the space for a political dialogue to lead to this broader transition period and ultimately a stable civilian-led process over the long term. So that's the overall architecture of the approach. Within the department, we do that in really 3 different pillars to our approach. There's direct engagement with the belligerents to press them on all of these fronts on the humanitarian truce, as well as having that dialogue on the way forward. There's engagement with any and all parties that have influence on those actors. Yes, the Quad, but also others, including, as referenced earlier, the UAE, European countries, other countries, neighboring countries are critical to this effort. And then third is the longer-term effort to bring some cohesion and coordination to the civilian-led effort. So there's the broad path to peace, undergirded by our 3-pronged approach with the belligerents, with external influencers, and to create the conditions for a civilian process. So those 2 nest together.
Thank you. I'm concerned that despite that announcement being made on September 12th, it's been nearly 3 months and we have no humanitarian truce. So I appreciate all the work you all are doing, but I think it's clear we need to be doing more to stop this bloodshed. Thank you.